Hi, it's Allie from Greenwich Mystics, and today I'm going to show you how to wire wrap 3 different simple styles of crystal bead rings. If you find this helpful or would like to see other tutorials, please leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and let's get into it. These are the materials that you'll need. You can find these at any craft store or Amazon. I'll be using 20 and 26 gauge copper wire. You'll start off with a piece that's a little over a foot and fold it in half. You'll then slip the bead on, fold it halfway, and put it on your ring mandrel to your desired size. A little tip to even out your wires is to kind of tug up on them, and it should pull any slack that's left. You're going to take your round nose pliers and turn the wire to where you can start to get a good frame. And then you're just going to gently turn the wires around the bead. It's okay if it looks a little sloppy or messy right now because we can go in and tighten that later. If there's any kind of gap on your band near the bead, you can squeeze it with your pliers. And here I'm just kind of tightening the frame, again, by flat nose pliers. So now we're going to take the wires and put them under the band so we can secure the ring and finish it off. So this part requires a little finger finesse because it's going to feel like your ring is falling apart a little bit, but just keep tweaking it and gently working it in and it'll stay in place. So I like to wrap one side kind of like partially around, kind of like this, and then I can do the other side. So it's a little bit easier, so it's not completely unraveling. And then you're just going to secure it once for this design. So another tip is sometimes I find that my rings, depending on the type of wire I'm working with, can kind of go flat, which I'm gonna flatten the ring out. So your rings might look like this depending on the wire you're using. Just stretch it out with your fingers like I am, put it back on your mandrel, tweak it with your pliers. But I do remember being frustrated when I first started. I felt like my rings just looked kind of wonky, but you can fix it. Another tip is if you feel like there's kind of a gap in the framing of the bead, you can smush down, kind of where I'm going to smush with my pliers right there. You can smush that down and it'll bring that wire down with it, if that makes sense. So now we're going to go in and make the little accent circles like so. You can use your round nose pliers to start, but I usually just like to use my fingers to start and get my round nose pliers to tweak it and make it nice and tight. So it should look like this, and now we're going to go in with the flat nose pliers and secure it on the band to finish it off. Another tip with rings and most jewelry is I always clip mine off on the part where it's not going to touch the skin or it's not going to rub up against the skin, so I don't clip my rings or the wire for my rings on the inside of the band. I always clip it and secure it on the outside. And yeah, we're going to do that to the same side, just making sure that the circles are as close to the same size as possible. And this whole next part is just going to be me doing it again. So if you need to see it again, here it is again. If not, you can skip ahead. So that is ring number 1. We're gonna do ring number 2, which is gonna pretty much be the exact same except without the loops. So it's just gonna be the very generic, simple wire wrap crystal bead ring. So if you're familiar with that, you might want to skip this part. If you've never done this before, it might be good practice, or learn something new. So that's what this whole part's going to be. It might feel a little jumpy because, again, most of the aspects of this ring were done in the previous ring, just without the circles. So here you go. And that is ring number 2. Next, we're on ring number 3. You're going to need 2 different gauges for this. I'm using 26 and 20 gauge. You're going to start with 2 strands. I think mine were probably like a foot. And I'm going to take this 26 gauge wire and wrap it around. I'm going to kind of start like a quarter of the way. So I'm going to leave some room for like the frame around the bead, but this is going to be the band. And periodically I like to kind of smush the wire flat and push it down with flat nose pliers so it's nice and tight. So you're going to want to leave like maybe a half an inch, just a bead size distance, and that's how you'll know you reached your band size. So I will periodically measure this as I go. But this is about where I want it. I kind of mush the middle with flat pliers and see if I need just a little bit more, which I do. So I did that, and now you're going to start securing the ring. So you're going to start threading that wire through. I like to hold it with the pliers at first, squeeze it really, really tight, and you're going to kind of thread it through. Again, pushing it down, pushing and mushing, pushing and mushing, and then you're gonna thread it right through. This is gonna be sped up because this is all that there is to it for now. So here I'm just double checking that it looks right. It's gonna fit my bead. Love it, looks good. So once you're happy with that, we're going to secure that smaller wire to one of the 2 bigger wires. And I'm about to make a silly little mistake. Don't cut this. I don't know why I cut this. We keep this wire. You keep this because that's how we put the bead on. So here I'm attaching more wire because I cut it off. Don't do that. Don't do this. You're gonna slip the bead on that thin wire, and then you're gonna put it like so, and you're gonna wrap it around the opposite 2 wires. Not cutting it. And then once you've secured it on the 2 wires, we're gonna loop it around a couple times to secure it, and now we cut it. Now we cut it and we push it and mush it. And then from here, we're just going to take the 4 larger wires and start wrapping it, so in pairs of 2. And just like with all the other rings, we're just going to wrap these around a couple of times until you're content with how it looks. So to finish this off, you're going to take the inside one first. So here I'm clipping that innermost wire and securing that. And then you're going to take the outside wire and wrap it around. I usually wrap it around 2 times around the band, but you can do probably 4 would be the max with this style. And then you're going to take the remainder of the wire and clip it short so that you can make a little loop like so. This is optional, you can just finish it off as is without this, but I think this is just a cute little touch. And I'm just making sure that it is nice and secure. And that's all there is to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.